Okay, good day everyone. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. May I find you healthy and well at this session of entrepreneurship. And for today's learning material, I would like to explain about analysis SWOT. Yeah. Before we continue, I would like to share today's material. Yeah. Okay. On today's learning material, I would like to explain about three main things. The first, I would like to explain the basic concept and objective for SWOT analysis itself. And then I will break down each element using study case. And the last part, I would like to explain several strategies that could be done by business owner using the SWOT elements that you found and you explain as research object for entrepreneur course. And before I begin, this SWOT analysis will be handy for you, yeah. Will be helpful for you to work on your second competence test on the 11th session of entrepreneurship course. You can check it on my class, yeah. By the session 11, we will be having second competence test. And all you need to do is to re-interview or doing another interview with business owner, yeah, that you've been interviewed on the first competence test, yeah. And you need to ask several questions on their situation, their business situation that related to SWOT analysis. The purpose of SWOT analysis is to think or take strategic measurement, strategic step to develop business, yeah, based on your findings, highlighting the business advantages and the business threats. It's mainly to develop much better business plan, yeah. I'm sorry if the display is in a low quality, low quality pictures. You can check it on my class. I've presented to you in the much clearer display. So here we have the strength and the weakness. It comes from the internal aspect of a business. And while the opportunities and threats came from the external aspect of a business. Strengths and opportunities considered as helpful aspects, whereas weaknesses and threats are considered as harmful aspects for business. Yeah, that's why we have two arrow crossing to the right and crossing to the crossing down right. It's to explain whether those aspect is helpful or harmful or having a positive or negative impact for a business, or is it four of this aspect is could analyze coming from the internal side, or is it coming from the external side of a business? Here I have several questions and indicators that you can propose to the business owners to analyze, to explain about the business advantages would be the first. Business limitation is the second aspect. Predicted business feasibility, or also business opportunity or business trends that happens nowadays. That would be the third aspect. And the last aspect is to explain threats that come for their business. Basically, it could come from competitors or difficulties to reach consumers, or changes that happens that not in accordance to the business itself. I would like to explain each of element on the SWOT diagram using this case study. I'm using the first business profile. I'm using the business profile that I've been used for the first competence test, Balai Bandung. It's business that produce fish dishes and also fish products. Yeah. To analyze its benefits or its advantages or its strengths, I will compare Balai Bandung with two kinds of competitor here. The first competitor called Bandung Presto, and the second competitor is Bandung Kropok. Yeah, Bandung Presto and Bandung Kropok, both of them are using high pressure and high temperature cooking process. Yeah, whereas the high pressure would soften the fish bone, and on the second is Bandung Kropok. They're using high temperature deep frying process for their fish, so the fish itself would taste delicious, but at the same time, unfortunately, they lost lots of useful nutrients for our body because of the high temperature and the high pressurized cooking process that came from the competitors' products. Yeah. Balai Bandung using method called caput duri, or they manually separate the fish flesh and the fish bone. Yeah. That's why the fish stay fresh and still maintain their useful nutrients for our body. So Balai Bandung benefit would be the nutritious value is much higher compared to the competitor products. Yeah. And here I have explanation for the disadvantages or limitation for Balai Bandung. Yeah. I have 4 points of business limitation. The first, Balai Bandung is a small scale business. Those why Balai Bandung is not prioritized by the fish market to provide the product. The fish market itself usually prioritizing the big scale industry because they need big amount of fishes to do their production process. So the Palembang itself will be having limited amount of product, yeah, and the limited fish supply is also affected by the growing season. It would affect the stockpile of Palembang itself. The availability is only in small amount of products. The third occurrence for business limitation is the Capoduri process, because the business owner is manually separated the fish bone from the fish flesh itself. It took quite amount of hours. It's a long process, and due to the limitation of the labor itself, so it could also reduce the fresh stockpile or the ready to sell products, yeah, because the limited labor and long process itself. Because another factor of business limitation for Palembang, because it is a fresh product, no preservatives, and it make for ready to eat dishes, yeah. It could only be delivered during a certain amount of time, yeah, because if we kept the Palembang product exposed to the air, yeah, in general, it could decrease the quality of the product itself. So it could only be delivered to the nearest consumers, yeah. It's located in Central Java, a province in Indonesia, especially in Semarang City, yeah. So it could only be delivered in Semarang City and its area, because the Palembang product has no preservative, yeah. So it made to get to be eaten as soon as it can, yeah. It made fresh, made for immediate consumption, yeah. The third aspect that I would be explain here is business opportunity came from external parties, yeah. The first would be the Gemar Makan Ikan campaign, or free, fresh fish consumption campaign by the Ministry of Marine Affairs and Fisheries of Indonesia, yeah. By the time Palembang is established in 2015, the Minister of Marine Affairs and Fisheries, Mrs. Susi Puji Astuti, she declared a fresh fish consumption campaign because Indonesia is maritime country, and she was encouraging Indonesians to consume more fish, yeah. It's quite a big positive impact for Palembang at that time. And the second opportunities came from a not so good news that found it in the market. Yeah. According to the research by threading official department in Indonesia. They founded 27 brand of canned fish, sardines that available in the supermarket in Indonesia contain parasitic worms. Is not so good news, but it has a positive impact for Bali Bandung because Bali Bandung having numerous amount of new consumers and also increase of order for their dishes, for their products. Last, I would describes threats that came from the competitors. The competitors that displayed in front of you, we have two kinds of fish brand. It's quite become a top of mind brand in Indonesia. They are a big scale industry, so the downside will be because of the large production capacity. It could endanger, it could drawn Bali Bandung consumers to them. So these consumers would prefer their product rather than Bali Bandung products. And the second threat is coming from the misimplementation social media for promotion. So Bali Bandung mostly use Instagram to conduct their promotion, but in reality, the main consumers are housewives, who are much susceptible to WhatsApp, I believe, rather than Instagram. So after I explain the elements of strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats previously, from those explanation, I would like to formulate some strategies to respond on each element. The first, I would like to respond on strength element. I would like to conduct simple comparison Bali Bandung product compared to the top of mind brand product. The top of mind brand called Bandung Presto, they sell their product in kilos. It could be much higher in price. As you can see here, it's 100,000 rupiahs. Compare to the Bali Bandung product, whereas consumers could buy it in piece. It's only 10,000 rupiahs each. From 14,000 rupiahs or dollar to $1.50 for each piece of Bali Bandung product. It's range from $1 and to $1.50 for each piece of Bali Bandung product. And it's quite different than the Bandung Presto because it costs about $10 to $20 each product. So why I conclude this as strength, because the price itself is much friendlier for the consumers on level C, D, and E. If you check the socioeconomic status on my previous material, I believe it's in session 3 and session 4 of entrepreneurship course on my class, yeah, socioeconomic status. And the second strength, it was identified in the packaging of the product itself. Bali Bandung product having a vacuum sealed and freeze product, whereas the competitors, they only wrap it in the multifunction plastic wrap, yeah. So it didn't guarantee the hygiene of the product itself. Bali Bandung having much more hygienic packaging compared to the competitors. And to respond the weakness or business limitation that I've been explained in the previous slides, yeah, to maintain the limited stock, to maintain the availability of the stock, yeah, increase limitation of the stock itself, Bali Bandung decided to bought the raw material or the fishes from the middle supplier, whereas the fish itself is already cleaned up. So Bali Bandung only need to inspect the quality of the product, package it, and sell it to the buyers. Yeah, the positive impact of this practice is the increasing fish stock. Yeah, and the negative impact of this practice is the increasing of the production costs, because Bali Bandung or the business owner didn't take it from the fish market, they take it from the second-hand distributor or the middleman. Yeah, that could also impact the consumer's price or retail price for the Bali Bandung consumers. The next element I would like to explain in response to the business opportunity. At first, Bali Bandung used Instagram account to conduct their promotion, and they've been evaluating this practice. They found out that the main consumers of their product is the housewife, who are more susceptible to WhatsApp as their daily social media. Yeah. So they use two kind of social media, Instagram and WhatsApp, to promote their products. So the business owner could reach much varied consumers. Yeah, they will be having a bigger range of age and various kinds of consumers as their potential consumers, ranging from the adolescents consumers or all age consumers to housewives consumers. And Bali Bandung also partnering up with the local food delivery online services that is available in Indonesia. We have several partners here, GoFood, GrabFood, and Shopee Food, yeah, for same-day deliveries, so they could respond to much more consumers to sell their products. It could also increase the sales itself. And to respond to threats for business owners, here I have two kinds of quite general advice. Yeah, the first would be keep innovating, starting from the simplest thing. Yeah, innovation for packaging, for menu variation, for promotional strategy to reach much wider consumers. And the second is to adding a second social media to conduct promotional strategy, so the business owner itself could reach much wider and much varied consumers. I believe this will be the end of the material for SWOT analysis. The last slide would be all you need to do for the second competence test on the 11th session of entrepreneurship course on my class. Yeah. And before you conduct a second competence test, I would like to refresh it and explain it what you need to do on the 10th session of entrepreneurship course. Yeah. And that would be all for today's learning material. We can study it further from the video learning material that I will be uploaded on my class as usual. Thank you for joining me today. We'll be seeing on the next session of entrepreneurship course. Billahi taufiq wal hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullah. Stay safe, God bless, and don't forget to mark your attendance.